What happened, motherfuckers? This Snags up in this bitch.
And I'm old Silky.
And I'm Alan.
And today we are discussing the esteemed and fascinating life of one Mr. Richard Pryor.
And I will say, this is episode 138. So we are 138 today
We are 138.
with
38.
your Misfits shirt on.
Oh,
That's
it's
tremendous.
also SpongeBob's favorite holiday, April Fool's Day.
Oh,
Oh, there you
nice.
go.
I got this DVD set for my kids, and me and the wife watch it more than they ever did.
That's fantastic.
That's fantastic. So I got the Misfits shirts on by accident. I forgot this was episode 138 and I happened to be wearing a Misfits shirt. And
That's great.
Bales has the SpongeBob DVD, and Silky has a Metallica shirt. Nice.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
a real stretch here.
Yeah.
very
Uh,
nice.
but yeah, Richard Pryor, this is just iconic. Growing up in the 70s in Baltimore, um, you weren't, obviously I wasn't black, but I was, definitely the minority, and you did what your environment did. We listened to Richard Pryor albums, Red Fox, George Carlin. A lot of that stuff was played around growing up, on the stoop and in the brown, they were townhouses or brown. I forget.
Brownstones. Brownstones.
Brownstones. Yeah, I could
Yeah.
not get the word. Brownstones, and somebody would just play that, and you'd sit on the stoop, and you know 6, 7, 8 years old, you didn't quite understand, but I do recall George Carlin's nursery rhymes were just fucking hysterical. Red Fox, I knew he was Fred Sanford, and so he was always funny. But Richard Pryor was like the voice of a generation, very iconic. Um,
Yeah.
and you throw in James Brown and Muhammad Ali. They were all so iconic, and just they owned it. They owned it. And as us coming up, even though we weren't maybe part of the cause, we certainly respected who these people were, and we saw how important they were.
Yep. Yeah, they were larger than life. They were
Yeah,
monsters in their trade,
yeah,
right?
100%. I love that. You can't talk about James Brown or Ali or Richard Pryor. Uh, it's impossible to go down their life path without mentioning everything else that was going on in their time. Uh, they were very integral, much like Bob Dylan or the Beatles. They were just welded to the time itself.
I think you had a in comedy you had a two significant cats that started pushing the boundaries early, which were Lenny Bruce and Red Fox, really pushing the boundaries. And then their offspring were George Carlin and Richard Pryor that basically picked up the torch
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and kept it going, you
Yeah.
know.
And I think they were able to not be as I think Lenny Bruce just was never going to be accepted. He certainly kicked the door open, but I think the shock value was too much for that time.
I think if he had lived, he would have been accepted. He would have eventually
Yeah,
been accepted, but he didn't live, you know.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because I mean, if we could, Louis C.K., you
Hmm.
yeah.
know,
It's another one.
uh, yeah, he definitely could have thrived now,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but nobody wanted to hear the truth back then. Apparently, you couldn't have truth in comedy.
No, and
Right?
the
Yeah.
damage is done. You're
Yeah.
forever blasted. Um, Pee Wee Herman,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they bounced him out,
Yeah.
um, and it's not right.
I think currently if Louis C.K. moved to Austin, he would thrive because nobody gives a shit in Austin. It's like the one comedy scene where very much like the 70s. I watch Kill Tony a lot and they bring on these comedians and nobody gives a shit about
No, that's good.
there's nobody sensitive.
That's good.
Everybody, you got people of all races and
Right.
backgrounds all making fun of each other and everybody has a sense of humor about it.
Yeah.
And I think Lenny and I think Louis C.K. would do fine. You know, if I was going to manage him and take over his career at this point, I'd advise him to move to Austin. But that's he's.
I
I know he listens to this podcast, so maybe he'll
yeah.
do that. Yeah,
Like seriously, who goes to a comedy show, expecting, what are you expecting? Like,
Right.
I mean, why are you there?
Yeah.
right.
If you can't laugh at yourself, why are you going out to a comedy show?
Right. Well, I
I mean,
mean,
sit in the front row while you're at it,
yeah.
Yeah,
You
moron.
yeah.
you go back, LaWanda Jackson, who played Esther on um,
Sanford and Son.
Oh,
Sanford and Son.
oh yeah.
I just drew blank. She has a stand-up bit called "Suck It Dry," and it is
Yeah,
just so
I'm gonna
graphically.
look it up right now and
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look it up.
bookmark.
Look-
it's called "Suck It Dry," and it is just
Wanda
you're like,
Jackson.
oh my god,
It sounds like a NWA song.
right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you go back. One of the earliest blues songs called "Shave 'Em Dry." Lucille Bogan, and she talks about. I mean, that's one of the dirtiest songs you'll ever hear.
It's Lawanda Page is her name.
Wanda Page, yes.
Yeah,
And then Wanda. I'm uh,
yeah.
combining two. Yeah, but that "Suck It Dry" is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's but
Page.
like I said,
Yeah.
or like we're saying, they would it's comedy night, get up on stage and just be as crass as you
Yeah.
can. And let off some steam. You can't be all stuck up
Right.
and
I don't understand that. Why are you there then? You
yeah,
know what
yeah,
comedians do.
yeah,
You're not
exactly.
going, you can't be so naive as to think, oh, this is Bob Hope's going to show up and,
Right. Yeah, it's not
let
the
me,
Catskills,
yeah, right.
Fuck.
It's like,
Uh
come on.
yeah, and it goes to all those little what's the word? This novelty. All those novelty albums where they would just try to be as filthy as they could.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. The
you know,
Dolomite albums and the
sure.
Blowfly and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that ties in with Red Fox and
Richard Pryor. Yeah.
Richard Pryor would just do these characters and Mudbone and Mudbone for those who don't know was like this old
Yeah.
black man who just had the wisdom and watched the street like the old guy in the neighborhood. You just knew what everybody was up to. So much wisdom and those Mudbone bits. I know that Pryor's just riffing. He probably didn't write that shit down. He's just ad libbing, and you could. As a child, I was always drawn to what the older folks were talking about anyway. But those Mudbone bits, you would just. I could listen to that for hours.
Oh,
Um,
sure. Yeah.
it was just
Yeah.
epic. I mean, his Mudbone bit on uh, live on Sunset Strip is just a quick little thing. You can tell he's just over it, but it's brilliant, you know. Uh,
Yeah.
just listen to the old guy telling how life is, Um, but that was his strength. Pryor would just riff, and even his
Yeah.
that show he had in the '70s, it ran like 4 episodes. They pulled it because it was too controversial. But goddamn, the shit they show now, you know.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Right, please. But the Mudbone thing, yeah, it just made me think, that was really think about that as a young person, but speaking an old person's wisdom.
Yeah,
You
yeah. I
know,
mean, because like I remember him talking about Dracula in the ghetto, and Mudbone's like, "What's your name, boy? Why are you walking around here looking like that?
right. Yeah.
Dracula?
You
What kind of name is Dracula?"
Yeah, I
God,
actually listened to that. I listened to some of
uh,
his albums this
Yes.
this week,
shit
and
is just.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it just would double you over because you're picturing Dracula.
Yeah.
You want to suck what?
You want to, right? I hope you get sickle cell.
Oh fuck. Um, yeah, I mean, he was just epic. I mean, just outshadowed everyone and paved the way for. I mean, he definitely handed the torch to Eddie Murphy, and
Oh,
then Eddie Murphy, brought. Um, I don't want to say Dave Chappelle, but um, uh,
Chris Rock. The, the
yeah, a lot
the
of those guys.
yeah, but
oh yeah.
the thing about Eddie Murphy is Richard Pryor didn't like him. He thought he stole his act. There's
Sure,
a story when they did Harlem Nights. Richard Pryor took the job, but he would apparently show up every day, say his lines, and leave. And Eddie Murphy was thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna get to hang out with my hero and make this
sure,
movie," and
sure.
the vibe was not like that at
And
all.
the
No.
problem, Harlem Nights was like, and I think I feel like Kevin Hart tried to do it too, where you go, you know what, we're gonna do this again. We're gonna redo Uptown Saturday Night. We're gonna get Denzel, and we're gonna get all these other iconic stars now, and we're gonna go back to the day and redo. And I don't know that ever happened. But that was a project Kevin Hart was really trying to get off the ground,
Okay.
um, and get all these just iconic people to step in. And Harlem Nights was like those people were still Della Reese, Red Fox. They were all still there. So why not? Hey man, let's fucking
Oh
one
yeah.
last hurrah.
Yeah.
And the problem with the old, I mean, you go back to some of those blues movies. Howlin' Wolf is epic, and in the background, fucking Son House is sitting there, but Son House is just blown the fuck out, hammered. And at one point, Howlin' Wolf says, "If you don't put that bottle down, I'm gonna put you the fuck out of here." And it's hard to watch that because you're like, "Hey man, that's Son House you talking to," you know. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
but
he's
I
Howlin' Wolf, so
right
he can talk
Right.
to
exactly. But at the time, and Son House is like washed up, but things were not the same for Son House. The way the Chess Brothers came along and Howlin' Wolf, Willie Dixon writing for Howlin' Wolf, and nobody was writing for Son House.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the Eddie Murphy thing, a lot of talent there compared to Arsenio Hall, who I feel Arsenio just tagged on and uh, had the connection, right place, right time, and he had some talent. I don't want to take away from Arsenio, but he was no Eddie Murphy.
No. No.
Um, but yeah, so do you want to go into Pryor's early life? I know he grew up basically was raised in a whorehouse.
Yep.
And,
Yeah.
when you're 16, 17 and learning that, you're like, oh my God,
I just can't imagine.
what a
Cannot imagine.
fantastic place to grow up. But then you think, nah, that's probably not a fantastic place.
Well,
No.
yeah, I mean there were cop raids all the time. He was getting
Yeah.
abused. It wasn't like
Yeah.
it wasn't like being Hugh Hefner's nephew when you're
Right.
17, which, or
Yeah.
18 or whatever. It was like, poor cop raids, abuse,
Yeah. I
people
mean,
at
I can.
school making fun of him because his mom was a hooker at
I
the
mean,
Yeah.
whorehouse.
Yeah.
think
It's a
think
small
about
Yeah,
neighborhood. Yeah.
yeah.
I
think
mean,
about. I mean, you've how many times have we said to our friends, "Your mom's a so and so,"
sure. Yeah.
but this
Yeah,
time it's actual real.
Yeah.
It's
Kind of.
real.
Yeah.
right.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I relate to this so much because I grew up in a drug house. Um, Everybody partied there many, many times more than I can count. As a child, 6, 7, 8, I would wake up um, inside my closet because somebody wanted to use my bed, and you would, wake up Saturday morning and there'd be two people in your bed and you're on the floor. I remember being pissed
Jesus
off about it.
Christ. I
I
That's
thought
remember
my
being actually
I don't.
pissed off because it's my fucking room.
Yeah,
Wow.
that I
Um,
had a
Yeah.
bad childhood, but it wasn't that never happened.
Yeah.
oh yeah, no,
No,
I
that's
mean it. So I can relate
Yeah.
to a lot of that where you're just in a bad, and then everyone else in the neighborhood, all the guys who'd come back from World War II or even Vietnam, Korea. I had a lot of veterans in our neighborhood, and they all knew me as the son of that whore over there that has the parties and so I coming up I really tried to find an identity in my own neighborhood, that was not who they perceived me as. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of us get tagged early on, and you can't live that down sometimes.
oh man.
Uh, but so I can relate to Pryor kind of growing up in that, which is portrayed in JoJo Dancer, even Some Kind of Hero, which I think is one of his best, almost kind of a comedic but dramatic role of a Vietnam veteran. It's a great movie. 83, I think, somewhere in there.
Yep. That sounds about right.
And I thought that was a hilarious movie. A lot, but some he really had moments of brilliance, dramatic bits in there. Um, and then why he would do the toy, which
Yeah.
was funny, but you watch it and you're like, wow, this they would never make that today.
Oh God.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
it's very
No.
like, huh?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
very controversial
A
at this
little
point.
degrading. Yeah. A little.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, but
Yeah.
I
you know,
saw that one in the theaters when it came out. I
yeah.
remember going to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Wow.
I had a black friend going, "What the fuck? Can you imagine?" Like he made me see it through his eyes, and I
Right.
was like,
Oh.
"Oh wow," you know. Uh,
Yeah.
so
Oh man. Yeah. Why would he do that?
yeah, I just and I love Jackie Gleason, but you're like, "What the? This is."
Yeah. A little awkward. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it just even writing it, like, how do you sell that?
Well, in the late '70s, early '80s, anything goes. I mean, nothing was
Yeah,
really,
yeah. I mean,
and
even
not that I'm condoning it, but
yeah.
it seemed like adults were adults back then. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't
No,
know.
and that's you've hit it. You've hit it because you look at
Adults were children. Adults are children now to me.
yeah, yeah.
That's what I see.
Well, I think people go through their day looking to sue anybody.
Right.
They want to figure out a way to get this person in front of them to lose their job. That's their ultimate goal, and they just look for any reason at all to pounce, to cry and point, and
Yeah.
all the things.
Yeah. I'm offended.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But you go back to those halcyon days of All in the Family,
Yeah.
Good Times, What's Happening, the Jeffersons. Um,
Because people understood
you-
what it was, what it represented,
yeah,
what made it funny.
yeah. You found the
Was it
humor in the differences with
right?
people,
Yeah,
especially All in the Family
right.
and the Jeffersons. That and I don't think you can get away with that shit now, and it's a fucking shame.
No, you can, but it's not in the mainstream. You're not going to see it on Apple TV, but again, there's a whole slew of comedians on YouTube now. The whole Austin scene,
Yeah,
it's a throwback, man. I'm telling you.
yeah,
Joe Rogan's whole scene down there, they've 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 stripped away all the oversensitive bullshit, and they're just doing straight up comedy.
Right.
And again, it's all kinds of people. There's this great guy named um, Dedrick who's from Atlanta. He calls himself the Dark Storm of Atlanta.
right.
Fucking hilarious. This
Yeah,
black guy goes up there and it doesn't matter. And there's this Chinese girl named Young who's gets on there and just rags on everybody. She doesn't care. She makes fun of everybody. She's an equal opportunity roaster. And
that's
it's
cool.
us all. There is an undercurrent. It's kind of like in the '80s when you had shitty pop bands like Night Ranger in the mainstream, but then you had
Cool.
a lot of cool shit going on over at SST and Twin Tone and all these underground
Yeah,
labels.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Comedy is like that now. You're not going to
yeah.
see it on Netflix or Apple TV where everything's policed and
Right.
regulated, but there's a lot of great underground.
Randomly, Netflix will have these stand-up specials, these people I've never heard of, and we'll catch it. And I'll watch. There's been a few that have been just hysterical. Uh,
Yeah,
but yeah, um, but what I was getting at is how Pryor comes up and he has paved the way. Anyone gets up on stage now, and you know Pryor's long gone, forgot all about these, never knew these people, and they indirectly owe everything to this man. Um,
yeah.
just the brilliance. But I
Dedrick
guess
Dedrick Flynn is the guy I was talking about. Look that
Dedrick
guy up
Flint.
on YouTube. He's
Yeah,
fucking hilarious.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Uh, so he grows up in a his grandmother's brothel. His father was like a boxer and a hustler. Like many fathers, they just weren't around. They had us. Uh, Snags and I both grew up kind of with our moms.
Raised
Um,
by flaky hippie chicks.
yeah, um,
Yeah.
and dads were out hustling. You know, Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Um, but he faced a lot of hardship growing up. Witnessed a lot of violence, police raids, like Snags was saying. Drops out of high school at 14, and eventually joins the army in 60 to 62 over in West Germany. Um, I know he early on. There's like a really old Ed Sullivan show where he's a very young Richard Pryor, and it's just hilarious. Uh,
The thing
seeing
about
him.
him in the early years is he was doing the Chitlin circuit and kind of following in Red Fox footsteps, but then he saw Bill Cosby get rich
Mm,
doing clean mainstream
right.
comedy on all these shows. So he adjusted
Yeah.
his act and he was basically the Pepsi to Bill Cosby's Coca-Cola. He was the other clean black guy who
Uh huh.
did comedy on these shows, and he made quite a career for himself as
Yeah, he
the
had his hair kind of like Cab Calloway.
yeah, he had his hair straightened and he was
Yeah.
making, mainstream non-offensive jokes that didn't make anybody think or have any introspection. The obviously the irony with Bill Cosby is, he had this clean image, and the whole time he's drugging
Oh,
and raping women. But
yeah, yeah. Wow.
um,
America's dad.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean,
yeah,
Cosby with the Fat Albert and
yeah,
Yeah,
talking to us. I mean, we grew
right.
up. Cosby raised us. You
yeah,
know.
He did, yeah, yeah. Fat Albert, yeah. I have the best of album
Yeah.
yeah,
with the Noah. His sketch of the Noah and the Noah talking to God, God
Yeah.
talking to Noah, the flood. That it's just priceless.
Yeah.
yeah,
Just
You know.
Cosby saying, first few years I thought my name was Jesus Christ, and
Oh
it's so good.
yeah,
yeah,
But yeah, when you think of the early '70s with Saturday Night Live and Pryor coming on there, and I mean, even his early movies, Which Way Is Up, where he's like plays three people, and he's the rich guy in Car Wash. Uh,
right.
just he did like all these little bit parts, but you stopped and went, "It's Richard Pryor." I mean, that's the you know
That's
that's that was his
that's the first time I saw him was in that era on at the drive-in. My parents took me and my older brother to see Silver Streak.
oh
oh
yeah.
yeah.
I saw that in the theater. My mom took me to
Yeah,
see that. Yeah,
and
Now, was Silver Streak before Stir Crazy?
yeah. That was
yes,
the first. That was the first Gene
yeah,
Wilder, Richard
Oh,
Pryor movie.
see,
yep.
I thought Stir
Yeah.
Crazy was.
No, Silver
No, yeah,
Streak first, then
that's
Stir
the first
Crazy,
time.
then See No Evil or whatever that
Yeah,
last
well,
one was.
that was way after, but yeah,
Yeah. Which was actually a funny movie. I think you and I might have gone and seen that one
I
together.
think yeah, that was like '88. Yeah, we were
Yeah.
living.
No,
Yeah.
which one?
See No Evil or whatever.
Oh
The
yeah, that's my wife has seen that. I haven't. She's like, "Oh
it's
my God, it's great."
dude,
Yeah.
it's funny.
So,
It's
Yeah, it's
really
fun.
it's
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I remember seeing Silver Streak
Mhm.
at a drive-in, like you said. That was
Yeah.
like, and let's talk about the drive-ins. You went. Now think about this. This was my experience. I'm sure you had the same, Beetle.
Yeah.
Uh, you went to the drive-in. Um, a bunch of people got in the trunk. One person would go in. Everyone would spill out of the trunk.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Maybe it was more or cost so much for everyone in the car. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
you're paying
uh,
per person, I think.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everybody would pile in the trunk. You go through, you get out. Now you just run through the cars to the concession stand. There's swing sets. There's kids
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
The movies are going. You're oblivious.
Yeah.
Maybe you've got money for a hot dog and popcorn. Maybe you're just uh, poor like I was, and you just went. But you just ran around and you were out at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and you felt just absolute freedom. But what's funny is you look back and there's like 200 cars there. Anyone could have grabbed you.
Oh yeah.
You'd have never been seen again. And
No.
Dude,
somehow you
in the
found your car.
Yeah.
in the summer in the summer, I don't know if this is the same with you, but like we're not in school. My mom in the morning, a friend of mine would come over in the morning. We'd say, "Hey, we're walking to the mall." The mall is a half an hour away.
Yeah.
You walk a half an hour to the mall. You leave at like 10 or 11 in the morning. Yeah, just make sure you're back by dinner. No cell phone, no way
No.
to ever get in touch with you.
No.
Clue where they are.
And
Yeah.
Oh
then
yeah.
you show up at 6:30 at night, and that
Yeah.
was just normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had the fire engine siren that went off at 5 o'clock, and when you heard the siren go off, you got your ass home. That
And
Yeah.
was
it,
That's just
it.
insane to think you would let your, and this is like, I was like fucking 11 years old doing this shit. Oh,
yeah.
see ya.
Yeah. And so you can apply this to Pryor's time. Um, just everyone in the inner cities out on the streets, sitting on the stoop, hearing these records. Um, just out and about. Kids were just an afterthought or somebody to your left or right. And I feel like now society puts the kids first. Um, your life is over. It's now about that
Oh, yeah.
child, which I can't argue with. You know, earlier, El Condor texted me because he's in his room, and he texts me and literally says, "Dad, I'm just wanting to relax in bed tonight. Can you come and get my water and fill it up for me?" And I'm on the couch like, this motherfucker. But you know what? I'm like, you know what? Okay, I'll go and fill his. I had to pee anyway, so I got up. But um, you know how adults are, man. When we finally hit the couch, we're done.
Oh,
You
done.
know, I
Yeah.
have kids in the house, so they'll get me things. You know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
today, I'll just real quick before we get back to Pryor. Today, I took the boy to school. I'm in the wife's car, and we both had this discussion. I zip over to Valvoline and get her oil changed. Get home. I got to meet the tax guy at 10, and I get my car because she has to go to work, and I take my car to get these two tires replaced. Then I make it to the tax guy, come out, and I get the text from the mother-in-law that I need to pick the kid up. So now I got to kill like 3 hours. I'm like, screw it. So I go and get my oil changed in my car, and the AC's broken. I had them mess with that. Then I go pick him up. I've spent so much money I don't have. With the government shutdown and everything, our
oh,
paychecks
geez.
are all fucked up.
Yeah.
Um, I've they let a little money through. I don't want to get into all, this will turn political real quick, but
Yeah.
I've taken what little I have and basically kept both cars running, because if my car dies, I'm done. I can't even get to work, but
Yeah.
uh, it's just perfect timing where shit happens right as you get paid.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
you got to turn around and uh, I dropped close to $1,000 today on all the shit that
The
that I
three, the
you
three,
know.
and then we'll get back to Pryor. The three things that fuck up your finances always: car, doctor, house.
Yeah.
It's one of
If it's
those
got
things always fucking
Yeah.
hitting, and you got to put
Yeah.
something on a
yeah,
credit card or
if
whatever.
it's
Uh,
got tits or tires,
it's,
it's gonna cost you.
That's another joke. Yeah,
Right.
if
there
it
we go.
floats, flies, or fucks, it's
See,
gonna cost you.
now I think it's time for Loudmouth Lounge then,
Hey, let's hear
Yeah.
it.
All right. So
right?
Loudmouth Lounge this time around. Beetle Bailey's gonna do some comedy for us.
And for the listening audience, because this will really be critical. If you could pan down to your Metallica shirt, Silky, for this joke. Yeah, there we go. Nice. So here we go. What does Metallica like to put on their hot dogs?
Hmm.
Mustard! Mustard!
Okay then. Nice.
Oh, what the hell does that have to do with Richard Pryor?
It's just
Obey your mustard. All right. So back to Richard Pryor. He's doing this. He's doing the clean, Bill Cosby type comedy,
Yeah.
and he he's just he the part of him that grew up in the hood and knows how fucked up everything is having a really hard time playing for these rich dinner theater guests that come to see him because he was on Ed Sullivan.
Well, yeah, you're playing to the Rat Pack crowd.
Yeah, so he's
yeah,
he's in Vegas one night
Yeah. Yeah.
and just loses it and is like, I can't play for you white honky crackers anymore, and just
Yeah.
walks
I mean,
off the
but it,
stage.
it makes you wonder what Sammy Davis endured.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
being in that hole.
Well,
Apathy.
who knows what his background was? I don't know much about his background, but if he didn't grow up in the hood, there's people like Miles Davis. Miles was raised in an affluent family, you know,
Yeah. Well,
and
I know
so
Sammy Davis was Jewish and black, and
yeah.
to the Italians, that's like the kiss of death.
I mean,
Not for Frank
But they,
Sinatra though.
but they,
Frank Sinatra fucking hated racists. He
yeah.
fucking hated them. Anybody fucked with any of his friends because of the color of their skin,
Oh yeah,
you're gonna get your knees fucking smashed in.
yeah,
So Sammy was hanging with cool people. I don't know if Pryor was hanging with the Rat Pack, but he um he uh he was because of the route he had taken
yeah.
doing the clean comedy on these mainstream shows. He was getting booked, and people who are on vacation,
Sure.
they don't want to think about anything. They want to
Yeah,
come
yeah,
some casino in Vegas and hear some and get some laughs. And it wasn't his crowd, man.
yeah.
And
They like it a little edgy, but not too much, and
yeah,
yeah,
just
and
fucking
he
goes back to Beatle Bailey on what are you fucking here for? You know?
yeah.
right.
He basically split for Frisco and started hanging out with the Black Panthers and basically the whole black intellectual crowd out there,
Yeah,
and just took some time off and cleansed his soul basically.
yeah.
And then when he came back, started doing comedy again. It was the Richard Pryor that we all know and love.
Yeah, there's a stand up bit. It's on you can stream it maybe on Tubi, and it's like live and smoking, and it's him in 71, and it's actually not a good stand up bit. He's angry. He's I feel like he's still kind of he's left that clean cut, and he's trying to you know
Oh, he blasted out of that. Yeah, he was
he's
he
trying to
was
get his
very
sea legs.
yeah.
And this bit, it's very early prior stand up, but it's just you feel like the whole audience is politely laughing, but they're you go to you watch like Eddie Murphy's Raw, where he's fresh from a divorce and he's just pissed off, and it's just you're like, dude, people want to come and laugh, not
The
not.
one guy who could make that anger work was fucking Sam Kinison.
Oh
He
my
was
God.
hilarious when he
Yeah,
was pissed off.
yeah.
But it's
Kennison,
I know what you're saying though. If somebody's just bitching, it's
yeah.
not quite
Well, that's why Raw, Eddie Murphy Delirious was our, that was our we played that fucking thing. I still can quote that
yeah.
stand up bit, but Raw was just everything that Delirious was not, and I that was like his last stand up movie.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
to this day, he's not done stand up that I know of. Uh, you know, and it's very tough. Um, Chappelle, Dave Chappelle's
He's a genius.
he is a
Yeah.
fucking
Oh,
genius.
absolutely. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Pryor just, I feel like when he hit with his first few main albums,
Yeah.
74, 76, those really grabbed a nation. And then if you watch Watt Stacks, I think that movie came out in 72. Um,
He's in that movie, yeah.
he's all through that, but they brilliantly cut to him just rapping, just
Mhm.
talking,
Yeah.
and social commentary, and he is razor sharp. You see the talent just spewing out of him. And he's in that movie's uh just social commentary, but he's the voice of I don't want to say the voice of his people, but just he's uh saying what everyone else is thinking.
Yeah.
uh, those were really tough times, the 70s,
Yeah.
for everybody, white and black.
Yeah.
and the media did not help, and all the organizations. I can recall a few Thanksgivings where the Black Panthers handed out food to us, and we ate that uh, holiday because of them. So I didn't grow up afraid of them, you know.
Yeah.
So, but
Well, like you just said, the media doesn't help.
no, no, and they still don't.
No,
Yeah.
they don't.
If you can track down the Richard Pryor show, it was on NBC.
It's on
Yeah.
YouTube. All four
Yeah.
episodes are on YouTube.
Right. Yeah.
Those are classic. I I really really think I have the DVD of all four of those.
But you don't know because everything's in boxes.
Yes,
Yeah.
you know the
Yeah.
drill. Um, but I've seen them. They're fucking just great. Uh, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
I don't remember that at all when it came out.
Did you was there a Richard Pryor Saturday morning show for kids?
Oh my gosh, I have
Not
no.
that I'm aware of.
That does
No.
not sound like.
Yeah,
No.
maybe I'm just thinking of this Richard Pryor show. Um,
No, that was Bill Cosby with the
That was
fat.
Bill Cosby.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was.
no, I
and the
know.
Jello
No, but
pudding.
I swear Pryor had
The
something.
The Cosby Show.
Yeah, we'll have to search if Pryor had a Saturday morning thing.
I would wager my entire t-shirt
Yeah, no,
collection
it was
that he
just an
did not.
odd thing, but I really, I swear there was something. But anyway, um, so his Richard Pryor special, 77. And that was great in the late 70s. Elvis had a special. They were TV was just like, hey, you want to do a special?
You want to do a special?
You know, they just had, whoever. Fuck, Captain and Tennille had a variety show.
Yeah.
Elvis had a special in the late 70s. He was dead.
Yes.
It was
Yeah, no,
great.
this was
After he
76.
died.
No, 76, something like that. It's either called the CBS Elvis something like that. You can watch it on YouTube.
Well,
And
76 would check out because he was still alive. Yeah.
That would work. Yeah.
yeah. No, he didn't die till 77 in August, and this they may have had something. It may be 77, but they were just filling time. You had what was the midnight special that have a Kiss, all these different people.
Mm-hmm.
Those were great, man.
Mm-hmm.
The midnight something, I don't remember.
Oh, you had in concert. You had the midnight special. You had there's a few
Yeah,
of
I've been
those.
binge watching the midnight special at dinner time for over a year now. I'm on the episode 115 now.
Wow,
Really?
Yeah.
what are you watching that on?
It's on YouTube. They have them all.
Oh,
Nice.
Oh yeah.
fuck! I gotta. Okay.
Today,
Well,
yeah, today's episode was rare, but it was the faces with Rod Stewart
Oh my
Nice.
God.
and Keith Richards was filling
Yeah.
in. He was just,
Ah. So
dropping by.
they're all amazing, aren't they?
Yeah,
All these.
It's fantastic. Rod Stewart was crazy good.
Yeah.
Crazy.
His Stewart's first like 5 solo albums. Every other album was a Faces album, and the Faces always talked
The
about
Faces
how
played on
he
his
had all the
solo
hits
albums,
his solo albums,
which
and
they
not the
played
Faces.
on.
Yeah,
Right,
which
they-
They're basically Faces albums because
Yeah.
they're playing on it.
yeah.
But
he
yeah, he'd
kept
save the
hits
good
for-
songs for his solo albums.
Yeah,
Yep.
fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the 70s were, pretty basic. I think he really hit his stride doing stuff opposite Gene Wilder, and then obviously The Wiz was a big deal. Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, and Diana Ross.
Yeah.
And Uptown Saturday Night. Like I said, he did these bit parts. The Mac. I mean, he like almost overshadowed the rest of the movie, and I feel like people went to those movies because he was in them.
Yeah,
And then they don't forget his iconic role in Superman 3.
oh,
Yeah, and that's the
absolutely.
only reason people went to see that movie
Yeah.
You
was
couldn't
him.
believe what is Richard Pryor doing in a Superman movie?
Yeah,
I saw that one in the theaters too.
same. Yeah,
He
Yeah.
created a buzz no matter what.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
And then he's you know banging Pam Grier, and Pam Grier legit thought that they were you know a hot and heavy item, and he's living with her. She one night she's home, she doesn't know where he is. It comes on the news that Pryor's getting married, and she's like, "What the fuck?" And he's off in Vegas with And I'm sorry, Pam Grier was like the hottest
I
chick
know. Yeah,
alive.
right.
Yeah.
He's
Jackie
in
Brown.
Vegas. He's in Vegas getting married to some troll. It just defies,
Mhm.
But that's how complicated Pryor was.
Oh, he always had multiple. He had a stable going
Yeah,
on. Even when he was married, he always had a stable. And
yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
it's
yeah.
funny you say that. I was watching one of his stand-up, things on YouTube, and then the cameraman pans over to some random female in the audience, and you could tell she just wanted to eat him alive.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, there was
Oh
no
yeah,
doubt
man.
about it.
There's
Yeah.
this.
She, I mean,
I mean, Pryor would walk into a room and the fish would stop swimming. So,
And he could clear a room with a beer fart.
oh yeah, let's get that in there for
now,
sure. Yeah, he
Yeah.
just yeah.
now
Uh,
that's after Silver Streak, the next time I remember him, and because it was a buzz, was his live in concert album
yeah,
or movie.
yeah.
And
Uh,
I don't think it was rated, but there was this huge disclaimer that you could read in the newspaper, that said,
wow.
warning, this film contains blah, but
Right. So he has a bit either in Pryor in concert. I don't think it's Here and Now. I know it's not live on Sunset Strip. I believe it's before he set himself on fire. But he's talking about this guy has a monkey, and you let the monkey out of the cage, and the monkey runs up and starts fucking the guy in the ear, and it's just the whole bit. I remember my dad and I going to see this movie, and this whole bit about this monkey fucking the guy in the ear, and
That
my
reminds me of a story I'll tell afterwards.
yeah, my dad is doubled over, literally laying in the aisle in the movie theater, gasping for air, and I'm doubled over in my seat. But I remember my dad like literally laying on the fucking uh, carpeted floor as Pryor's talking about this monkey fucking this guy in the ear, and I would love to find that bit again, but it just hysterical.
That reminds me of being drunk at your wedding reception and telling your soon-to-be wife I wanted to fuck her in the ear.
Wow, that's
No,
fantastic.
it was, and
Which
then
wedding?
the second one, the
Okay,
current
when did
wife.
the
when
real
did
one.
when did fucking people and people in the ear become a thing?
See,
I've
I
never
must have subconsciously remembered that
Channeled that.
From the
I
Maybe.
missed
prior
that
thing.
day in school, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Um,
and then I went
Honey,
on
we're
and,
trying.
and then I went on to start rat because my ancestors are from England, Silky's
oh
ancestors are from
Jesus.
Ireland, and his whole family they're a bunch of proud Irish people. So
Well,
naturally,
they're also drinkers and they fight.
yeah, and
They're
so I
not.
started ragging on his uncle who could fucking squash me with his thumb if he wanted to. I started ragging on him for being Irish. This is after I told Silky's
Yeah.
wife I wanted to fuck her in the ear. And luckily she has a sense of humor, but the uncle, I'm ragging on him and going, "Yeah, we should finish the job and just annex the rest of that fucking country," saying shit like that. And he looked over at Silky and goes, is he serious? Because I'm about to beat the fucking shit out of this guy.
Yeah, I mean
Silky's like, no. He's just drunk. He's just drunk.
yeah, I mean they get in fights for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no, I know. I have a good friend who's Irish, and my favorite story is he was at a funeral, and his brother, one of his brothers, comes up to him and just says, "You're a fucking asshole," and just
right.
wanted to
And
start a fight, just wanted to
wow.
start a fight.
Yeah.
Wow.
What
And
they
they
did,
just start going.
yeah.
That's yeah. My whose wedding was it? So my cousin gets married. They have this huge beach wedding, and then at a Holiday Inn, and we've got the main like conference room packed. I can't even tell you how many people were there. Um, I'm there with my current wife, and my daughter was tiny, and we're all there, and somebody crashes the reception. These people come in, and they're getting plates of food, and many of us are like, "Who is that?" Because you just know everybody.
Yeah, right.
And next thing you know, my cousin. My cousin, who is now like gone through the Air Force Special Ops, he's real badass. Uh, him and my cousin Scott, and just this massive fist fight breaks out. Um, Mainly because these people crashed the wedding, and we're told, "Hey, get the hell out of here. This is a private thing."
Yeah.
And they'll fuck you, and oh yeah, well fuck you, and and it elevates, and um, now the police come. They realize a lot of these cousins I've mentioned are underage, and you
Drinking.
know, yeah,
Yeah.
puffed up, drinking, and it was. I don't. We left. We
Yeah.
left right before all this shit went down.
Yeah.
Too bad I
Smart
can't
move.
stay.
Yeah.
Right.
But fuck, man.
Yeah.
I did notice listening to Richard Pryor's albums, at least one bit that Eddie Murphy stole. Like I think Eddie Murphy was talking about Amityville Horror when he did his version, but Richard Pryor's talking about The Exorcist, and it's like
Uh-huh.
the minute the daughter's head swivels around, they'd be like, "Well, time to go." If
Yeah.
they were black,
Yeah.
and then the movie would be over.
Yeah.
And Eddie Murphy does the exact same thing. He's like,
Yep.
you're in a house, Amityville Horror, and you move in, and the
Well,
house starts whispering at you, "Get out." Too bad we
yeah.
can't stay.
Yeah.
And the movie's
Same.
over.
Yeah. Well, if you watch In Living Color, Damon Wayans would do the "allow me to ejaculate the predicate," and that's word for word
Richard
a
Pryor ripoff.
Richard Pryor bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I could see him hearing that Eddie Murphy bit and going, "Okay, motherfucker."
yeah,
I came up with
but
that shit.
it's all's fair in love and war, and I'm
Oh,
sure all comics rip each other.
Yeah.
But it's a shame, like it was iconic and very important, I think, Harlem Nights to be made while all these people were still around.
Alive. Yeah.
And
I like Harlem Nights. Yeah.
it's not groundbreaking or anything,
Yeah.
but it just if you can identify as a black person and sit there and watch Harlem Nights, and you
Which
feel
I do. I identify as a black person.
you feel the love for each of these legends all together in one movie. It's
Yep.
huge, and for me, 16, 17, when Harlem Nights came out, identifying again as a black lesbian, you went and saw Harlem Nights, and
I'm the only white guy here.
tonight. Yeah.
Now, who directed Harlem Nights?
Eddie Murphy, I'm pretty sure.
Eddie Murphy. Did
I'm
he?
pretty sure. Yeah, that was his deal. Let me look it up. I know it was his project. Let me see who
Yeah,
actually
I would
directed it.
say he produced, but I don't know that
I
he.
will find out. I will find out.
Um, but yeah,
Oh, you know, a movie we haven't mentioned that Richard Pryor was in as a minor character.
Eddie Murphy directed Harlem Nights.
wow,
He wrote it and directed it.
wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Nice. Lady Sings the Blues.
Yeah.
Yes, that
Diana Ross.
epic Billie Holiday bio movie
Yeah,
with
and he gets rubbed out in that film.
yeah, he was the piano man.
Piano player. Yeah.
Yeah, epic. Um, and Blue Collar, Harvey Keitel and Yaphet Kotto. That's a great movie.
Yeah, he had some good dramatic turns, you
Yeah,
Yes,
know?
he did.
he
Yeah.
was very talented. Just it shines more in his stand up where he takes on a character during the stand up and you see him just go with whatever it is, and it's brilliant, it's funny, but I doubt it's written. I feel like he's just in the zone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Channeling.
he's another one that can make faces and just kill you with
Yeah,
his face, right?
yeah, just the
And
glaring eyes.
his in his impressions of white people when he does the
Uh,
white person,
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm on the floor. I'm literally on the floor dying.
he's got this routine on one of those albums of white people having dinner versus black people having dinner.
Yeah,
yeah,
And it is just I'm not gonna do the bit, but it
right.
is fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
yeah.
You know?
yeah.
I love him in. We talked about Some Kind of Hero, 1982,
Yeah.
and he's going to go rob a bank, or he's in the bank and somebody's going to rob it. I forget now, but the bit that just slayed me, and I look at back on it. 1982, I was 11 years old.
Hmm.
I know this movie was rated R, but I went to see it, and he goes into the bathroom, and I believe it's in the bank, and somebody's in there, and Pryor says, "Smells like something crawled up your ass and died," because somebody's in on the toilet. And at 11, I'd never heard that, and I laughed about that for years. It was just so fucking funny.
I remember seeing that movie on HBO, but I can't remember a darn thing about it.
So
Tell you.
he gets captured in a Vietnam. He's in Vietnam. He's a soldier in Vietnam, and he gets captured, and he's in a war camp, a POW camp, and uh, eventually comes home and tries to reacclimate. And I think Margot Kidder or one of they
Yeah,
put him with somebody.
right. There was a
So
female, yeah,
um,
co-lead, right. Yeah,
right, but just a hilarious movie.
yeah,
One
yeah,
of his better ones.
yeah.
Uh,
We're gonna have to dial that one up again. Yeah.
yeah, Some Kind of Hero is fucking great. Bustin' Loose was good. Um, you know, but JoJo Dancer was an attempt to really uh, look back on his life, and
That was his Harlem Nights pet, that was his writing and directing pet project,
yeah, yeah,
basically not running. He spent his whole life running from that childhood.
Oh God.
And
yeah.
Yeah.
and that was his turning around and embracing it and okay, I'm going to do a movie about it. I'm just going to put it all out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I think Snags and I both talk about our childhood a lot.
In
And
case
it
you
wasn't
haven't
ideal.
heard, we were
Was not
raised
ideal.
in the woods by hippie savages. Yeah.
But I think your childhood can shape who you become, or it does, and you decide either to embrace it or to distance yourself from it.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you guys all the time, I grew up by the opposite way. I grew up with Ozzy and Harriet as
Right.
parents. I mean, it was, church every Sunday. It was, mind your manners, wipe your
Right.
feet when you come in, and it was, drink your milk. But what I'm getting at is, once I hit 15, 16, 17, I realized, I could leave all this behind. I could,
Hmm.
split, and
Yeah.
get out of this, whatever, fantasy world I'm living in. But I think, the three of us, we're all kind of at the same spot now,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
I hope that you don't have any guilt that you had an ideal childhood
Yeah, I'm like, that sounds great,
It's
man. A
around.
stable
it's
home
not
and all that
no,
shit.
it's not guilt. It's more of, God, I wish I could just hand it to you guys, just have a slice of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Aside from the church, it sounds
I
great.
mean,
Yeah. I will say that we all knew someone like you that seemed, at least from my house, uh, man, that kid's got mom and dad in the house. I envied those people. Um, I to this day I envy anyone who like uh loves their mother and has a good relationship with their mother, and I meet them or I see them or hear about their mother, and I'm like, wow, what would that be like? Because I just didn't have that. Uh,
I was watching one of the there's this cat on Kill Tony. So on this show, they bring up they have a bar next door filled with a bunch of unknown comedians, and they draw names from a bucket. And
right.
people come on, and this show is watched by millions. It's watched more than network TV shows are watched, but it's on YouTube. Tony Hinchcliffe owns it. Um, and they do it out of Joe Rogan's comedy club in Austin. And so you get all kinds of people coming on there, but this discussion is reminding me of this one guy that came from the bucket pool. Um, was raised in Florida. His dad was a rich real estate developer. He said they do their bit and then they get interviewed afterwards. He said
Okay.
he grew up getting blowjobs from cheerleaders at high school in his dad's Hummer, had everything you could have, and now he's starving, living in New York, trying to make it as a comedian.
Who is this?
I don't remember his name. It's just one of the
Oh, okay.
bucket pools from Kill Tony, and he basically just threw it all away.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah. It ha-
And so you can grow up with everything and not be happy with it,
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
well, the grass is always greener, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Like, yeah, I just wanted to break out. I wanted freedom. I wanted, I don't want to be home by 10 o'clock.
right, and that's natural. You're like, fuck, I want
Right.
to be one of the bad kids.
You're right. I want to be
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and I'll tell you this: we grew up in a like I said, a veterans neighborhood. The older crowd, and then there were younger. There were kids in my neighborhood, but we stumbled into the woods. We were always told not to go in the woods, and we would ride our bikes down this path, and somehow we rode far enough. We'd never gone down. We just, let's see how far this fucker goes.
Mhm.
We end up obviously in another neighborhood, but in the woods still, and we come up to a massive figure eight. Like somebody had just over the years made this giant figure eight. Um, Maybe somebody had ATVs, or I mean, it was just massive, like a
It was
big,
the Blair Witch.
yeah, totally. Uh, this massive figure eight uh, track with trees in the middle, and in the middle of this figure eight, almost where it crisscrossed, there was a tree house, and we end up in there, and there's a couch up there. It's wall to wall pussy pictures
Oh,
from all these dirty mags, and you had there were two couches, and like a trunk, and in the trunk filled with porno mags, Nugget, Lips, Hustler, just the
Yeah.
nastiest, like
Jugs.
Jugs, the nastiest, um, you know, porn mags. And we're like 11, 12. This was a gold mine.
Oh yeah.
And so
I got a
we,
story. I got a story after yours.
okay, we would go in there, and now that we found this, we went, every chance we got.
All right.
And we would hang out in this treehouse all day, very similar to like Stand By Me,
Yeah.
um, all these coming of age. But we would hang out there, and that's where I learned to smoke pot. That's where we listened to AC/DC. And to me, growing up, AC/DC was the band that the bad kids listened to, you know? And so the attraction to hearing Highway to Hell and Back in Black and, all that stuff, um, it just, it was everything.
Mhm.
So,
That's
when I was around the same age, my mom's living in this hippie commune with a bunch of other people. Just this big house used to be owned by rich people, but the neighborhood's changed. And so her and a bunch of her friends are all living in there. We're living in there. I got a room in there, and there's like, fucking 6 adults living in that house, and then me and my mom. And this one guy comes and he's just staying for a while and had a box of porno mags and left them stored somewhere. And then the adults went out to go party somewhere or do something. And I find the porno mags, me and my friend Arthur hanging out, and we find the box of porno mags and we take them out. And there's this big room in the house, and we just line the entire floor. We just open the centerfolds up for every porno mag. They just line the entire floor with porno
Uh,
mags, and they get back and what the fuck?
no, that's great.
Fucking hilarious.
If anyone has ever seen a porn movie, at some point in the porn movie, you get that classic shot of just the somebody's ass at the top of the screen, and then somebody's, uh, just the full penetration shot. And we would always pause that on somebody's TV and hope that they would come
Yeah.
home and
Oh, and then leave it? Just
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
leave
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah, and just, oh my God, what the hell?
That's awesome.
Those were the days.
Oh my God, I love it.
Um, so yeah, back to Pryor. So 1980, and you think about how huge he was by 1980. I feel like we did discuss some of his 80s movies, but prior to his accident, I think he was well on his way to possibly getting into something else. But then, June 9th, he's freebasing, and there's a lot of different accounts of what went down. But he suffers third-degree burns over 50% of his body, 6 weeks in the hospital. And I think, he does survive, and he does continue his career. But I feel like that changed everything. Uh, you know. But he was such he had moments of brilliant acting, and I it would have been impressive to maybe see him uh, have that one movie. Um, and I don't think he made it. I don't think he made his best movie.
Yeah, he got it, multiple sclerosis, and his career. Here, see no evil, hear no evil is the last main one, and then it just he's disabled in a wheelchair for 15 years, and then kicks the bucket.
Yeah.
So
2005, I think.
yeah,
That's heavy.
Yeah.
I know towards the end, I remember seeing him on some talk show or something, and somebody asks him what his daughter's name, or do you know your daughter's name? And he just sits there and like tears up. And I remember getting so angry that the interviewer would do that, you
Yeah.
know.
Why
Um,
be on a talk show at that point, you know? What the
yeah,
fuck?
well, that too. Like, who the fuck trotted him out
Yeah.
at this stage?
Oh God, that's
Uh,
just yeah.
it was just it
It's
really
frustrating.
angered me, and they don't always do it, but you still see it in different times.
Mhm.
I'll never forget when the space shuttle blew up. Um, you know, the actual live TV thing of it. Um, you're watching if something's wrong, and then you see the explosion, and the camera pans over to
Oh,
Chris Olive's
yeah.
parents,
You saw that shot all day.
and you're just like,
Exactly. Yeah.
"What the fuck?"
Like you just leave these people alone.
Yeah,
Come on. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Why do I need to see
Right.
her
Yeah.
parents react? It just,
Yep.
what the fuck,
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
you know?
That probably won them an award, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Breaking journalism,
Yeah, right.
but yeah. Any last thoughts on Pryor?
We just watched Stir Crazy. I watched it with my kids, and Stir
Oh,
Crazy. I say it holds up if my kids laugh at it,
yeah.
and they
Right?
laughed at it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's yeah.
great movie.
Yeah.
Gene Wilder.
I need to see Silver Streak again, but
Yeah,
Gene Wilder, just just hysterical.
yeah. He's the to watch Richard Pryor try and rein him in throughout the
Yeah.
movie.
Well,
It's
and it's like a brilliant. I mean, there's different things. Like Bruce Dickinson is the voice of Stephen Harris's music. Um,
Steve Harris.
Steve, well, whatever. Uh, but you know, different people bring out uh, people's best.
yeah.
I know. You know, I don't really bring out the best in Snags. I'm really the one that carries this. You know,
Yeah.
years of holding this guy up.
Yeah.
But
Your back hurts, don't it?
yeah, it
Yeah.
really does. But Pryor and you know Wilder, they
My
really
God.
play. It's just
Yeah.
fantastic
Hmm.
to
But
see.
yeah, I just want to say Pryor is a Mount Rushmore comedian. There's no subjection about it. It's just
Hmm.
he's on Mount Rushmore. I don't know who your other three would be, but he's got to be up there.
No, you know,
Comedians.
you got Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle, Kevin
Oh god, there's
Hart.
so many good ones.
Yeah,
Fucking George Carlin,
Carlin
yeah,
would be
fucking
my name. Yeah, Carlin and Danger.
Sam Kinison,
Yeah,
yeah,
Danger.
fucking
Yep.
Jerry Seinfeld. I
Seinfeld.
mean, you know,
yeah,
That's my four.
goddamn.
My four would be Pryor, Carlin, Dangerfield, and Seinfeld.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
Dangerfield. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
yeah, yeah. You know, the there's just so many to name. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Martin Lawrence has his moments.
But
Dave
but Pryor,
Chappelle, I think, has to me, Dave Chappelle has encapsulated that prior level
Yeah,
now.
he
oh,
Dave
absolutely.
Chappelle does not shy from
No,
pissing people off for
that's a very good
controversial
point. Yeah.
topics. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
good.
Absolutely, yeah. But Pryor, and Carlin to an extent blew the door open for everybody to
Oh yeah,
to curse, you know,
Yeah.
for one thing.
yeah. Uh, it's just I'm
Carlin's
trying to.
whole words you can't say on television. I
Words
mean
right.
that was
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was him fucking kicking the door down, you know?
yeah, and
I think I mentioned I saw him in '99 and though I don't remember a lot of the act, but one part of it I do. He goes, you know what? I just saw that it's Mickey Mouse's 75th birthday. And he's like,
fuck Mickey
fuck
Mouse.
Mickey Mouse with a red rubber dick.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
I love that bit. Oh my God.
Mickey Mouse doesn't exist. Yeah, he went on this whole thing,
Oh
Oh,
my
his
God.
whole thing on God is fucking hilarious.
And
Look
he says,
that up
I
on
hope he
YouTube.
dies.
Yeah.
Fuck Mickey Mouse. I hope he dies.
Yeah.
Look up the George Carlin routine on God on YouTube. Fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But he loves you. But he loves you. Oh yeah.
Anyways,
Yes.
that's Richard Pryor. I think we've
Right.
Yeah,
exhausted that topic.
I definitely Lenny Bruce in there too, just for Lenny Bruce was like the Robert Johnson of the
Okay.
very beginning, you know.
My
Yeah.
bad. Forgot. I can't. Yeah, you can't leave him out for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was the original. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So that's Richard Pryor. I have to thank you, Alan, for bringing up some of these. We, I think we would have eventually done,
Mm.
but you've certainly uh, kind of reminded it. Like, holy shit, how have we not done Richard Pryor?
It's okay. We got time. We got
Yeah,
time. We'll hit them all.
exactly.
Mm.
Uh, so I would tell all you kids to go out there, look up Pryor's movies, Some Kind of Hero,
Mm.
uh, Silver Streak, and Stir Crazy.
Stir crazy. Yeah.
You know, oh,
We bad. We bad.
We've been.
right. I have to see Silver Streak again though, because I've just it's been too long.
Yeah.
But
Right.
anyway, so that's it, kids.
All right, more shit coming up. Stay tuned. Peace out.
Thanks,
Dude,
guys.
thank you.